Rogue, GuMiho, Hero, DRG, round of 20, Group A. Africa TV, Freak Up Studio, live. 2022 GSL Season 2.
Welcome back, everybody. I am still processing this new style that we're seeing. You know, this sort of amassing, expanding, almost outpacing style from the Protoss that is just punishing these completely, I guess, inactive Zergs. You know, it's a thing that I think we haven't talked about a lot because, you know, it's easy to kind of move past certain ideas in the game when we see them so many times. But, you know, usually you see the Protoss expand, you kind of just try to expand more as a Zerg. But what if the Protoss just stays on Stalker Tech, has Oracles, and just keeps expanding with you?
Right, we saw that last game.
Because the thing with Stalkers is they can always get a little bit of value. And if you ever get too far off creep, with the Stalkers and the Zerg tries to surround, the Oracles can kill everything too. So, I don't know, I'm super excited. That's it for Protoss games today, though. We're gonna go to GuMiho versus DRG. GuMiho bringing a very old, kind of antique style of play. Not that it's bad, but let's see what he does here against DRG. He had a good showing against Rogue. He went 1-2. I think DRG is a much more doable opponent.
I agree with you completely. That macro style could come in spades here as we're going to go into map number 1 on Hardwire.
Let's do it. The loser guys, they're knocked out. That's going to be the first player eliminated from this GSL. Is it going to be GuMiho or is it going to be DRG? We find out right here, right now.
Psystorm Gaming, GuMiho. Team NV, DRG.
I wonder whether GuMiho is going to go for the same macro style that we saw him. Excuse me, that we saw him play in the first series there against Rogue. Because when he was able to control the middle, it looked really strong. But in the remaining games, when he couldn't get that momentum, it felt like it just kind of didn't work.
It's kind of funny. It's almost like the style that we saw him go for and that we've seen Terrence go for a long time, is sort of what Hero finally made work with Protoss. Like Terrence has been trying to do that to Zergs for a long time, to some success, at other times to not as much success. I do want to point out, I think DRG is almost just as good as Rogue early game. Like, I don't think
I
that...
could see that.
Yeah, I feel like he really can hang with the best of the best. He usually isn't overpowered or tripped up. Like we've seen from like some players like, you know, Armani. Not that Armani's bad, but, you know, Ragnarok sometimes. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. And, you know, the fact that GuMiho really did do very, very... kind of textbook openings, like the way that GuMiho played in the in that entire best of 3 against Rogue. That was kind of like the build you teach your friend who's trying to learn the game.
That's a really good way of
putting it. If you're like a pro gamer, you're like, okay, well, there's a lot I could show you, but if you just do this in every game, you're going to get, you know, to Masters or GM.
You can apply it in pretty much any situation. It might struggle with some all-ins, but if you're on top of your scouting, it's a great way of setting up your macro. And yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, again, it's not what I'm used to seeing from GuMiho. I'm used to seeing a lot of weird stuff. He hasn't been back from the military for that long. And again, I think whenever you play against Rogue, like, you know, when you play against basically the player that never beats you, or that you never beat. Sorry, I can't
know
talk.
that feeling very well.
Yeah, there's like you play against all sorts of people, and you can you know, maybe you don't win them all, but you win some. But then there's like that guy where it's like, I actually just never beat this person. And so I'm just trying to do the one thing that I feel like I'm absolutely the best at. I wonder if that's what we had in that GuMiho game.
That could have been the case.
Are you kidding me? DRG is so good.
Oh, go get him!
Go! Go!
Oh, they're going to be out of range. out of range. That hurts.
It'd be really funny if now Lings came around and killed those Marines and they just go in the base and I'm like, well, that's just
that was the entire.
This is the butterfly effect StarCraft game. You've got to go back in time and send those Marines a quarter of a second earlier.
Someday a Zerg player is going to be good enough. They're like, oh, he won't kill the Overlord if it's placed right here and he attacks it with 2 Marines. And then I build 12 Zerglings. I kill those Marines and I Bailing bust them. Something like that. So, it hurts. And we're seeing an armory out from GuMiho. Okay. Tasteless. What Terran strategy uses Hellions and an armory?
He wants to upgrade his Hellion attack. No. So this is going to be the Fire Hellbat, Hellbat bust here.
Most likely.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
It's like then vehicle armor gets upgraded. I'm like, huh. Okay.
We'll see.
Well, maybe he's going to go mech, actually.
GuMiho often does have his own kind of unique
Look at me.
quirks.
I'm like trying to be cool and funny here, and he just like goes mech. It's like, shut up, Tasteless. I'm like, sorry, guys.
Nah, he's getting
sorry,
Sam.
guys. I want to be one of the boys, and I can't be.
Unless we see like Blue Flame getting upgraded anytime soon, it's probably going to be a Hellbat sounding like you said. Actually, just dropping it. Okay, this is getting a lot of work done.
Well, he could morph it now.
I think he might once he gets over here in the mineral line. We'll see.
Get ready.
For now, just content to chase down these drones. And this might be GG, man. This is so many drones going down. That's 21 drones. How did this work so well?
This looks like one of those ladder game mismatches where you're like, yeah, I don't know what that guy was doing, so I just made stuff and won.
This looks like my ladder games when a Terran drops 4 Widow Mines in my mineral line. I never noticed. Just everything dies.
A program tabs you out of the game and you come back and you're like, well, that's it. I guess he's better.
That was insane damage. 20 plus drones going down. It's not GG yet, but we were kind of watching that and we weren't really giving it, I guess, the respect that it deserved, because I never anticipated 20 plus drones dying to this dropping Hellion run.
I think some of it was those Marines really got in this like premium position, and then they just killed enough of the Lings where, you know, it's kind of like it's an either or. There's a moment where it's going to be either or, and then you exponentially start to win the fight.
Absolutely. What a play by GuMiho. Well done. That's a good start to this game, and now he's going into his bread and butter. 3rd CC, double engineering bay, ramping up the barracks. And we talked a little bit about in the series against Rogue when he tried doing this style, this heavy macro style. He wasn't really keeping up in terms of tempo, but I tell you what, you kill 20 drones, you get a lot of tempo, man.
Yeah, no, well, that's so much more than you would ever have to plan for. And he's going to come in again. This time, actually, not killing any drones yet, but we still have time for that.
There's no Lings. There's no Lings because DRG had no drones and had to rebuild all of them, so he wasn't making any army. And
yeah, that's the thing. When you kill enough drones, all they can do is make more drones or lose the game.
It's painful to watch.
Queen's dying. I can't believe that one of these even gets out. That's insane to me. 1-1 has started.
Dongregu is going Spire with 64 gas in the bank and 54 drones.
Yeah. He's going to have like 2 mutas flying around the map here. It's time. Again, you know, losing that many drones, everything is basically behind. You know, to the uninitiated for RTS, they go like, well, don't they just remake him? Like, does it matter? It's like, yeah, but you were supposed to have already started making your army. So, that's kind of crazy, man.
Fortunate start there for GuMiho, making the most out of that situation. And now these follow-up pushes, DRG had a drone again. He's going Spire, and he's not going to be able to save too much bank, I think, because he's probably going to need more units to deal with this push. It might look small, but one siege taking a lot of Sim Marines.
Oh, he might actually get into a position here where he can just end this. I don't think that's enough Lings.
It's 1-1 Marines as well.
Well, it is now, yeah. Okay, yeah, he has just enough. I think we're going to go into game 2.
It's looking like it.
Yeah, we talk about a lot of times the game will just end if the Zerg loses the 4th. Well, like, what if the 4th never started?
8 Mutalisks in production, but it's not looking good, especially when these Marines come in. Combat shields finished now as well. 1-1 Marines against what's going to be a handful of Zerglings and 8 Mutas. DRG needs the best Bailing hits of his life to even survive this situation, and I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Yeah. again, a kind of a stunning opening here that just got out of control here. By the way, this is going to be cleaned up here, but there's another drop here. And, I mean, it's a long walk to try to come back in here and save this base. The drones don't really have an evacuation point where they can get out. Well, maybe he's not going to go for the drones yet.
Sitting on the production, getting what comes out, and that's the best case scenario there for DRG. GuMiho probably not anticipating Mutas to come out after killing all of those drones, and they get pretty much full medevac and pick up this tank as well. And once all is said and done, DRG will be alive, but the question is, where does the game go from here? Because GuMiho already up 10 supply, up ahead in workers, up ahead in army.
You know, it was a little bit sloppy from GuMiho, like the way he handled those last 2 attacks. Like, I think when you have them that down, you don't try to be an everywhere man. You're not like just running around and like, okay, what about here? What about here? It's like, no, you killed his 4th base and you killed all his stuff. You just need to have an army and just start actually destroying points. Don't try to, like, cause so much confusion. That's not how you're going to end the game.
That's an excellent point.
Simplify the game and end it. And look, maybe DRG can claw his way back into this game because of that. We've seen, I think it was 3 medevacs picked off total, along with all the Marines that would have been there. And with the Zerg, and this is true in other matchups and other circumstances in the games, like, you want to have a whole bunch of small fights that you take.
You want to whittle down the Terran, keep the tank count low. But the issue now is that +2 ground weapons is done for GuMiho. +2 armor is about to be done as well. And the army for DRG right now, there really isn't much to it. No creep spread either. He hasn't had any map control. He's going to try and come in now with the Banelings. Some good initial connections there on the Lings, and actually a pretty fantastic fight for him, but I guess he's going to hold. That was a surprisingly good fight.
Yeah, Terran has more, but I think DRG is getting further and further to the point where, like, this game's going to go on. Now, hold up. We've got another push coming here. A couple Banes, only 5, and 2 tanks here. If the hotkeys are set right, by the way, that 1 tank has like 5 HP or something, but
it's on death's door.
Yeah, but it's going to be enough to have the splash damage connect on those Banes. And, like, it's a bit of a scrappy game, but Terran does win this.
Once the Banelings are gone and those connections are not great, that's going to be it. GG, GuMiho wins map number 1 in kind of a convincing manner. I mean, it had a little bit of a hiccup after that initial push, but
it got shaky in the middle of the fight, but I think he basically kind of pulled it together. This happens to everybody when you're playing super fast and, like, you're kind of going through the motions. Not going through the motions, but things are you see something. Okay, send this here. All right, what do I see next? Yeah, your brain's trying to fit in the next card. Okay, what are we going to do next? And so he got a little bit, I think, reckless there in what was probably going to be an easy closer. But anyways, he closed it. He won. Who cares? We're past it. But I think the big takeaway there was, like, that insane start. He killed, was it 22 drones?
22 drones, I think.
That's
exactly.
Crazy. The Tal Terran is back.
I hadn't seen the towel yet today. I don't know if I just didn't notice, but I was wondering if he still used it.
He should wipe his hands with a towel and then just tie it around his forehead.
As a bandana.
As a bandana. That's
right.
right.
Terran.
Actually, I guess he plays with the towel over the mouse, though.
Right. Needs a second towel. All right. Let's go. Game number 2. Can GuMiho close it out and fight Rogue in the final match? We'll see.
Or can DRG not lose 22 drones at the start of the game? We find out now.
I imagine he won't lose 22.
Psystorm Gaming, GuMiho.
Maybe 20, not 22.
22. Whoa,
Team
Overlord, get out of the
NV,
shot.
DRG.
Sorry.
It's the kind of loss that hurts if you're DRG.
I just noticed this with DRG. I've been casting him for a long time. I've never said this out loud. He really plays with his chin up.
Oh, he does.
Which is interesting. Like, all right, State, you talk.
I'm trying to think about what
when you play. Like. Do you hunch over?
That's what I was thinking about, because I don't really visualize myself playing, but I'm sure whatever side it is not a good one. There's a reason why sometimes I get more viewers when my webcam is off and I'm streaming.
I get most of my views when I stream with a bag over my head with the eye holes cut out. No, when I started streaming during the pandemic, I had my camera like above my monitor, and then I would look at the VODs, and I'm like, oh my god!
It's not
like,
a flattering angle.
Yeah, my shoulder is like my shoulders are above my ears. Yeah, I bet if DRG streamed, he would look great.
He would
with that monitor right over that.
He looks very serious.
He does.
This is scary. This is a scary gamer, man. I don't want to go up against that gamer. I'm gonna die.
DRG has angry bouncer face.
Yeah,
for sure.
He has rights to be angry after that last game. That's a bitter loss.
You'd ask him where the bathroom is, and he just points. And you're like, all right. Hope you have a good night too, man.
All right. So GuMiho just happily expanding now, building up his factory as well. Gotta wait until that Starport comes out to really see where he decides to branch this out.
Starport is where DRG is going to take him for that last game, where it's like, I can't believe you got that many drones. This is ridiculous.
Crime.
Yeah,
it's a war crime, man.
Now, you know, I don't know what to really say about GuMiho's play from the start, because when things go that bad that early, it's like, well, I mean, we could talk about all sorts of things that you could have done from that, but usually when you talk to players who are good and pro gamers, it's like we should pretty much focus on the very first big mistake, because that's kind of where it ripples through the rest of the game.
And once you have a situation where you're losing 20 drones, and kind of not much else really matters.
Yeah.
The game's lost there.
Yeah. Once you've lost that many workers, when, like, you know, we've not even gotten to a fourth base. By the way, if you're playing and trying to learn, like, this is really important for how to think. Like, if things go catastrophically wrong early, okay, you can play it out and try to win, but then don't explore the later part of the game to try to learn from that. Really go back to, like, the first big mistake, because all RTS games are hinged on, you know, optimized build orders and trying to get to a certain point of the game where you're going to get to achieve what you want. It's like chess with chess openings, right?
It's one of the reasons why it's so important to go back and watch your replays, especially the ones that you lose, because you kind of have to identify what that first big mistake is, because usually when you make that one big mistake, as you said, kind of the domino effect, the butterfly effect, suddenly you're in such a disadvantageous position that there really aren't a lot of right answers. They don't really want to try and break down the follow-up, because, yeah, okay, that fight wasn't great, but it's not great because you lost 22 drones and you should have 30 more lings.
And honestly, dude, the number of games in my own experience where I've been pretty sure I knew what happened, but I check the replay anyways, and I see like a base I didn't scout, and it's like, oh my god, if I didn't see that, I would actually be giving myself the wrong information in my head.
We're spoiled with StarCraft 2, just F10 and W instead of F10 and N, and it instantly goes into the replay.
Yeah, no, I
have
to,
a great feature.
Yeah, I have to have like the lost screen, and then choose to click replay, even though I autopilot to go to the
Brood War
menu with Brood War. Yeah. So. Stim is a little bit under halfway.
Not lined up with +1, so maybe not any really sharp timing coming in from that, just kind of Hellions and Banshees poking and prodding.
Right, and if I look at this kind of big picture, I think that GuMiho, that game went so well, he's like, okay, well, whatever. You know, let's just do kind of another ordinary build and see what we get. Everybody has those games, though, from DRG where, like, you kind of missed one or two things, and then, you know, when they came and attacked you, it really kind of went to shit.
Happens. I mean, we were casting the last game, and we saw everything moving across the map, and we just assumed that DRG would maybe take some damage, but have it under wraps. And then suddenly we see the worker caps.
Yeah, things just keep dying, and I'm like, oh my god.
This is a little bit more what you would expect in terms of harassment. In fact, I would say that DRG's defense, picking off that last Banshee, is actually quite good. Only a handful of drones going down.
By the way, for those of you just now tuning in, Rogue is in the losers match. Hero is out. So this is not your normal GSL day. There's a chance of Rogue being eliminated. Rogue has to face the winner of this series. Right now, GuMiho with that 1-0 lead, but kind of as a reminder, like, there's an actual possibility. And by the way, Gumi went 1-2 against Rogue. So, like, Rogue is losing games to people in his group besides the guy that got out first.
That's a good point. Have a chance for some serious upsets. That G5L trophy might have to wait if things don't go his way.
Now, the push is going to come up. Is he going to commit with Siege? Yes, he is.
Classic spot to push here on 2000 Atmospheres. A beautiful Siege tank spot, covers so much ground, and We'll see if DRG's able to make this flank work right now. He's buying times with the Queens and Transfuses. He really wants these 22 Lings to pop before he comes in, and decides now is the time. Lings in the back getting a nice surround there. Bailey's coming with connection. GuMiho's going to lift off, and
yeah, not so easy this time.
Yeah, gonna forfeit this position. Not the best trade there for GuMiho. In fact, kind of an anti-timing. His +1 ground weapons was just not quite done yet. Same with combat shields. A little bit tough. Nice focus fire there on the Banelings. Gonna be able to get out with most of those Marines, but now it's kind of back to the drawing board here for GuMiho, as he's gonna have to make his next follow-up push. Get some damage done, I have to say.
Okay, I thought he was just gonna go for it. Nice block.
Close. I always get paranoid whenever I see like a Marine that's like barely on the edge of the depot. Anytime I off race, that always kills me.
Oh yeah, yeah. You don't quite have it down perfectly.
No, I'm awful.
Is he gonna pick up? Yeah. I thought he might use this to jettison the next army. Oh, he did. He just picked up. Oh, that's a good setup.
Yeah, it's another good one. There's a lot of positions over here for siege tanks in this little quadrant of the map.
The Lings are gonna full on counter. And they're not finding anything, because basically what GuMiho's doing is he's just using only medevacs to try to move stuff around the map.
Well, it's so good by DRG.
Yeah, that could not have gone better.
His defense has been impeccable this game. From the Banshee and Hellions at the start to now defending against the first siege tank push, DRG kind of taking one to the chin last game, and now deciding that he's not gonna blunder any defense at all here, and just kind of doing a masterclass right now, because GuMiho, I mean, he's retaining his medevacs, he's retaining most of his Marines, but a lot of the punch in these Terran armies is usually the siege tanks, especially on 2,000 atmospheres, and when it goes like this, Terran's in dire straits, and he's gonna go for the Doom drop.
Dropping.
Oh, that's not where that siege tank wants to
Dropped
be.
her Doom. That's so funny that the tank went down there.
A little unfortunate.
But I'll tell you what, the infantry actually win this, weirdly.
Yeah.
On the high ground, because there's no Banes here.
Yeah, the Baneling count's really low, and they are nowhere to be found.
Yeah. This is a funny moment, isn't it?
Wow, DRG just got wildly out of position here. His defense up until this point has been so good, and
like
GuMiho.
We should always have our tanks in the low ground, man. That's the play!
I love this play by GuMiho. This really equalizes the lack of damage from the early game. I mean, DRG just caught with his pants down there, and the Doom drop.
It's so funny. By the way, it's still 2-base Terran, though. Like, if Terran doesn't end this game ends.
Yeah, the third CC, I think, is just now floating in, and that is very late.
So he doesn't have the kind of momentum that he would have in a lot of these other games.
It's very good to point out, as DRG continuing to try and find some damage here, catch some reinforcements, but not really getting anything now. And he has got quite a bit of Hydralisks out, actually. I didn't see this transition in the cards, but 11 Hydras in addition to the Banelings and Zerglings, and here we go, GuMiho going in again, but yep, medevacs. Not gonna take that risk. 3 Queens of the Spore Crawler, a little bit spooky.
Now he's got, again, he just doesn't quite ever have enough siege tanks. You know, when you drop and you siege up, you are committing somewhat to a position, even if you can pick back up. And you're committing to tank specifically. So every time you see a tank disappear like this, it's why this is like becoming less and less effective over time, as he like sieges up and the Zerg's like, yeah, I mean, all I want to do is kill your tanks. Like, that's all I need. You know, it's scary when Terran has like 7 or 8 tanks and they're all spread out and you're like, damn, dude, I don't know if Zerg's ever going to crack this. And they can run them back and forth, they can pick up. But like, GuMiho is sort of not respecting the position that he's in. You know, late 3rd CC, 2-base powering Terran, you kind of have to really keep the tanks alive, and when they are sieged up, you have to do damage. Oh, dude. Oh.
That was brutal. But you're right, GuMiho kind of fallen into the same trap that he did in Game 2 and Game 3 against Rogue, where his trades maybe on paper were cost efficient, or at least close enough to it, but the units that he was losing are the critical backbone of that Terran army. The siege tanks, he's not able to make the push happen, and once again, I mean, there's a reason he continues building siege tanks even though he's losing all of them, and even adding his 2nd factory now. It's because he knows how important they are. And having that count get reset time and time again, kind of, it removes a lot of the strength from this Terran army, because yes, the bio is very powerful, but you need splash damage, especially on the Banelings, to try and clear that up so that your Marines can actually do their job effectively.
Okay, big pick up there again. Again, tanks kind of isolated. Are these going to live through this? 2 more go down, dude.
It's brutal.
You know, and
I actually think he might be. That might have been a second tack lab on the factory, and yeah, it is. Like, he recognizes this problem. He is not unaware of this.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a problem that's going to continue to fester here if you can't deal with it and deal with it quickly. Now, this is actually a pretty good chase here, killing those veins, to be honest. I think if GuMiho can kind of like stabilize here and get the army that he needs, it's going to be okay. One thing to note is that Medivacs have not been killed, so like the healing power here is kind of absurd. I mean, if it's not Banelings attacking, the Terran army kind of beats everything.
You're right.
Right, so there is that. The problem is that I think that, you know, there's been almost too much roaming here. We're like, and this is important to say, just because you can be roaming and attacking, if you're just losing important units, it's actually not good.
I would actually like if he decided to roam just with a bio and try and keep the creep back, try and pick off maybe some Banelings or Lings if you can, and then pick up if the fight's not favorable. And just sit on your 2 factory at home, wait until you have 5 or 7 tanks, and then finally push, as we see DRG coming in again. Another engagement, another tank caught out of position going down, but not the worst trade there for GuMiho. He got a lot of Banelings. He's getting counter damage there on the backside of DRG as well, and this is some much needed damage as well, as DRG sitting up at 83 drones. Even after 5 go down, that's a healthy drone count.
Gets that queen, draws this army back into the base. Again, we're still a ways away. And what you were saying earlier, State, I think is really important to kind of reiterate here. Yeah, just roam with bio. You can get in, you can get out. Stop having like these 1 or 2 siege tanks with the army that siege up for absolutely no reason. The Zerg just comes and smacks down. Now this is going to be just to secure this base. I actually got confused where the screen was. I thought he was one like screenshot over. I was like, huh, what's he doing? So Zerg is actually, if you look at the minimap, getting pretty insanely big.
That's a lot of bases for Zerg. And their economy is really healthy as well. Even Hive Tech starting now. I think we saw some Vipers in production, 5 Lurkers morphing. Lurker range as well. I mean, Hydralisks are here to help clean up these Medivacs in case they overstay their welcome. Taking another base as DRG, and the supplies make it seem like it's very even, but the army that DRG is building now it's got a lot of high-tech, high-quality units. These Vipers are critical, the Lurkers are critical, and DRG is gearing up to have an army that's very tough for GuMiho to kill, even if he's able to get those Liberator and Siege Tank counts up. At this point, what GuMiho is going to need to even stay on remotely close footing is Ghosts, and those are still a little bit of a way off because his economy is not exactly where he wants it to be.
I guess he's going to just have to run the clock for a little bit here. But, you know, how much time can you let someone like DRG just have the map, have this many resources, have this much power behind them? I guess at this point in time, DRG is saying, now it's my turn to start attacking in here. And, I mean, this is, you know, going to easily knock the Terran onto 3 bases and maybe onto 2 because he can remake this super fast. Wow.
GuMiho really doesn't have a lot of options to deal with this. You see he's going to try and get some counter damage over here on the top left side, but DRG just content to come back home after getting that damage done. GuMiho now on 3 bases, mining only. A lot of those out of resources as well, and
honestly, this is everything else that he had, man. I mean, this is GuMiho is probably gonna win in the next attack here.
Yeah, DRG is going to take this very soon. I mean, this counter damage, it might look like it's good, but really he's just buying time because, I mean, DRG even taking that fight, he was taking that fight with like 110 army supply because he has 80 drones. Like, look at his bank and he's maxed. GuMiho is sitting in 150 supply. DRG is just going to rain hell upon him.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy, man. GuMiho has actually recovered. But
for now.
The next attack is coming. Yeah, that's the thing for now, right? This attack's going to come in again. I think the SCVs are going to have to evacuate this once more. Again, the Hydra's make it a lot harder to actually pick up and do very much here.
This is the end. DRG is just continuing to push this position.
All right, 1-1.
GG's out. We're going to go to match point right now. A lot of really close series so far here today.
It's so funny because, like, DRG got totally dumpstered in the first game. Like, it almost didn't make any sense.
I mean, that happens when you lose 22 drones.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, but I was even talking about the 22 drones. I'm like, what went wrong there, man? That's crazy. But he came back and looked extremely strong. And honestly, GuMiho looked a little bit kind of clumsy. You know, post push, he's like he's like sieging up in spots that Zerk doesn't even care about, and Lings just come and kill the tanks. We're gonna have to see a better GuMiho in Game 3 here. Again, guys, we are in day 1. It's Group A. Heroes in the winners match, the crazy upset versus Rogue. But right now, we're in the losers match. It's either GuMiho or DRG to be the first to be eliminated in the GSL. I was going to start our match, but now I see GuMiho getting up and leaving.
Yeah, he's going to be there for just a minute. Can have a very short break, and in the meantime, like, I really don't know what GuMiho has to change in terms of adjustment. I think the main thing right now is him losing his siege tank count, because as you said in the previous game, like he's poking and prodding with units that, and like 1 or 2 siege tanks at a time, and once those fall, he has to rebuild them, and there's no real threat of a strong follow-up push by GuMiho because like the tank count is just so low. I feel like if he's gonna try that style, maybe he needs 2 factories. But frankly, I just think he should just retain the tanks.
I mean, the thing about, I think a 2-base push like that is it's only good if it really works. You know, and the thing is, like, when it didn't work, he started doing, you know, it's kind of like in Game 1, where, like, he had the Game 1. He actually, that's not the easiest way to form that sentence. He was going to win the first game, right?
Right.
But instead he started, like, shooting medevacs with stuff in it all over the place, where it's like, dude, he doesn't have anything. Just go kill him. If you're Terran, if all your stuff's together, your tanks, your Marines, and your medevacs are there, you can end the game. But he like almost lost control of the first game. Then in Game 2, he like failed with the push, and he kind of did the same thing where he's just sort of like dropping everywhere and sieging up. And it's like, okay, stop. Go back and expand, or wait until you're ready to attack again. Stop sending these squads out that are just designed to lose, basically.
There were 1 or 2 drops, especially the Doom drop there in the main base, that did a lot of value. But you're not getting those all the time. That was maybe 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 drops that were actually paying for themselves. Besides that, you're just losing units, and more importantly, you're losing tanks, because he kept bringing tanks with those small bioforces as well.
Yeah.
And, I mean, DRG with his army composition, he was just content. We didn't really see, I don't think we saw any mutas that game. It was just Lingbane Hydra. He didn't even need the mutas to control the drops. I mean, what happens if DRG ends up going for a mutalist composition? Then the drop strategy is going to be even worse. Like, that was kind of the best case scenario in terms of army comps there, and it still didn't work.
It's true. And, you know, not a build we normally see from DRG, and that may be because, I'm sorry, a build we normally see from GuMiho in Game 2, and that may be because Game 1 was, like, so surprisingly easy. Sometimes when you play a player, and keep in mind, this is, like, this huge tournament where everybody's trying to actually win the whole thing. And so sometimes you have these, like, you know, bottom shelf builds, I guess you could say, that you're going to pull out, which is like, well, I'm probably just going to beat him. And this way I don't have to show anything else about my play style at all to my opponents. You know, there's plenty of tough Zergs that GuMiho has to go up against.
Like Rogue in the next match.
Like Rogue in the next match, where it's like, maybe we should just bring something out that, like, should beat DRG but wouldn't beat Rogue. I don't want to psychoanalyze too much, but that can be a thing.
I could see that being the case, especially considering, like, it's almost as if you're going for, like, a two barracks all in, you know? Like, it's a tomb timing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to be going into the
Production,
next
throw
map.
up the game. We don't have to cue us on. Just go.
All
Thank you.
right. Game number 3, GuMiho versus DRG. Winner will fight Rogue in the final match.
Yes. I'm excited. Like, I'm excited to kill one of these players.
Storm Gaming, GuMiho. Team NV, DRG.
I did really like that point you made, though, about it being kind of like maybe a bottom shelf build that he's going for. Because this is something that we see often when a player, especially if they're up 1 game in a series and they only need 1 more to close it out.
Yeah.
They'll go for a proxy 2-rack, so they'll do some Reaper shenanigans if they're beyond. Or, in GuMiho's case, maybe he was thinking, if I go for this 2-base build, I've been playing macro all day, I go for this 2-base siege tank push, It's 2,000 atmospheres. There are good spots to siege near the third base.
Yeah,
Maybe
we saw
I just
that,
kill
yeah.
him. But yeah, DRG able to control it. I mean, his defense in the early game was phenomenal against the Hellions and Banshees. I think he lost like 3 or 4 drones, and he killed the Banshee itself too, which, I mean, if that Banshee's all the way in the back out of Queen range when you're pushing with the siege tanks and the Marines, that helps as well. So that was a pretty significant loss, and GuMiho actually open with a Reaper now.
He looked at that last game, man. He's like, hold on a second. He opened up his fridge, and he saw 2-base tank push, and he opened it up, and he smelled it, and he went, whoa! All right, let's try this one.
That's that what happened?
Yeah. He looked at the expiration date. He's like, well, if I use this now, it won't kill me.
It might have expired
did.
a couple of days ago.
Those dates aren't always exactly right.
I don't think have we? Am I wrong? I don't think we've seen Reaper openings from GuMiho yet. Hasn't it been mostly Marines and Hellions?
Yeah, we have not had Reaper openings. So he's going to go with, again, kind of alternative tech.
I do want to point out that this is the map, Nautilus 2, that he found a lot of success against Rogan. And if you missed that map, the play style that he took was basically, and Tasteless broke this down perfectly, is on this map it's easy. It's relatively easy to go up to 5 bases, and then it becomes exponentially harder to take bases after that. Getting the 6th base, unless you have total map control, is nigh impossible. And GuMiho's entire strategy there, felt like, against Rogue was to just kind of bottleneck the Zerg, do what damage you can, but more importantly, control the middle, don't let them take that 6th base. Eventually, they run out of minerals and you win the game.
Yeah.
And we'll see if GuMiho decides to go for a different style, but frankly, that was a very impressive TVZ that he played here in the first match of the day.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised to see him try and take the same kind of approach against DRG here.
Yeah, I would like to see a game where there is, like, just normal development. Just like, okay, like what happens if nobody has tried to pull the rug out from under the other one? Like, or who's actually better here?
We have seen a lot of that.
Yeah, with these two, it's like they're both trying to, get the upper. Well, I guess it's just GuMiho really trying to run in there and mess him up. So, I mean, it's going to be a little bit, guys, before we really know what they're going to do.
Looks like it might be Reaper Hellion on the ground with Banshees for GuMiho. And wait, is this actually a third CC? Yeah. It's a really fast 3CC. It's so fast I almost missed it.
Yeah. So he's going to land that down there.
Oh, just a Viking. Okay, okay. Yeah, this is looking a lot like the game against Rogue. If I'm not mistaken.
He might go for battle cruisers here. Something like that.
Wow. Okay.
Which is actually kind of old. It's not bad. Old is not bad, to be completely clear with everybody. It's just, an idea that's been here before.
Sometimes it's even better because it could be off meta,
Yeah.
It could catch players a little unaware.
We see this a lot in RTS games where someone brings out kind of an older, different style, and it works out really nicely.
I love that move by GuMiho as well. He was researching concussive shells on the barracks to make it look like a bio play, like he's getting combat shields or stim while the Overlord was there, but actually it is just for the battle cruiser, as we know. Might throw DRG for a loop. He is getting the Bailing Nest. I wonder if maybe he's suspecting this might be an Armory Hellbat play, because that also could be possible. Could just be a defensive nest as well, but we'll see what GuMiho is able to get with this. TVZ's not a matchup that I follow super closely, so I'm a little bit out of touch, but I'm curious to see what kind of damage he can find here with the Hellions on the ground and the battle cruiser in the air.
I think this is one of the strengths of this is that you teleport the battle cruiser somewhere. It is going to kill drones, overlords, queens, and it's pretty easy to just kind of navigate it away and repair it. There's styles where you get just one battle cruiser. We've seen styles where you get up to like 3 or 2, and then there's styles where you just keep making more and more and more.
2 more factories, Tasteless.
Oh, I didn't see that.
He's going mech.
Is he being a Gumi gamer?
He's a Gumi gamer.
Is he being a Gumi bear? This is crazy. You know what they call gummy bears out here, right?
What do they call gummy bears out here?
Haribo.
Oh, because of the brand.
Europe as well.
I didn't know that, actually.
Oh, you didn't know? See, okay,
no.
so because you're American like me, I like remember
the gummy bears.
For whatever reason, I had gummy bears, or somebody had gummy bears, and I heard a bunch of people also go Haribo, and I just this moment where I just went, that's a weird sound they made. I never bothered to figure out what they're talking. Like that's true. And I remember a couple times people going, oh Haribo, and I'm just like, all right, I'm not in on something here.
All right, this battlecruiser is getting work done already. One queen going down as well as 3 drones, almost 4 drones there in the Hellions. Oh my goodness, those drones do not want to be distant mining right now. That's even more going down. And that's a lot of Hellions. Almost as many Hellions as we have Lings. 20 more in production as DRG trying to salvage this.
Oh, but he drops the BC. You really can't drop the battlecruiser. Now, he's going to kill a lot of drones, though, so maybe it doesn't matter. A lot of this is hinged on recycling the battlecruiser over and over.
A little overzealous. GuMiho now down to 1 Reaper, 1 Marine, 3 Hellions, and a Viking, which is not the army comp you want 7 minutes into the game.
Yeah, he really doesn't have anything, does he?
Telling you, he saw that low number of Lings, and he just saw money signs in his eye. He's like, I want those drones.
Yeah.
Give me Rogue.
Yeah, he's like, I know what happens if I get enough of these.
The thing is, though, going mech, you can grind these games out. Any kind of early game disadvantage.
But it's going to be the GuMiho mech where it's Cyclones. So he's just like he's just running around.
That's
it's
true.
going to be Hellbats and Cyclones.
There was, if I'm not mistaken, there was a period quite recently where GuMiho just tried to make like Cyclones in every single matchup work for a while.
Yeah.
He loves his Cyclones, man.
I casted those games very cautiously as I had no idea what was going on. I'm like, all right, Tasteless, you're going to have to roll with the punches here.
6 more drones going down here. That's some nice damage. I mean, the worker differential is not that bad here for GuMiho. And
dude, he needs to be careful, man. What are you doing?
You got to get vehicle plating if you want to make that work, man.
17 mutas are about to hatch.
I think GuMiho is the Thor at home, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. I thought I saw one in the production tab, but now that I think about it, we probably would have seen it in the unit count, no?
Yeah, we would have to, right?
I must have canceled it because 6 turrets now going down.
Cyclones aren't good against mass muta. You know, he's losing too many battlecruisers, man. It's actually very rare, even if it's not the best Terrans, to lose the battlecruiser. It's one of the easier things to do. Not knocking on GuMiho, but you know, it is true. And so the mutas are out. And
this is problematic.
Yeah, the combination of the Cyclones and the battlecruiser, I guess this is very doable.
These Banelings coming in, the SCVs are going to try and make their way away. Most of the mutas have gone down by now.
It seems like GuMiho's reaction timing with almost every move he needs to make is a little bit slower. You know what I'm saying?
It's like working, though, for now. I mean, this defense hasn't been that bad. I thought it was going to be way more problematic, but...
Sure.
Yamatoing 1 muta.
Okay, he does deny the command center. Kills the depot.
My 2 Hellbats and 1 battlecruiser is all he's got out right now.
It's actually kind of crazy how little he has right now.
He might die. We'll see. 10 more drones in production, but I feel like if DRG was just completely fled right now, it could be devastating to GuMiho. Although it is hard to read when you're in these situations. Typically, mech Terrans, if they're in their base and they've got missile turrets set up and stuff like this, it's tough to actually go kill them. Yeah. Usually it's more of a contained game, so it could be kind of difficult to read that from DRG's side. In the meantime, instead, we'll be finding some damage. If he's able to get this armory, that'll be a really nice pickup. The Thor's coming in. Oh my god, 24 SCVs.
Oh, I think we're going to just start to see GuMiho get flattened here. He's so low in supply. I mean, he just has a couple of different sets of robots here to fight with. I mean,
robots.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to stop calling him mech and start calling him Robot Terran.
He's got a couple of RoboCop walkers and not much else left here.
I'm telling you, this has to be the grindiest game of all time if GuMiho's going to come back.
Yeah.
Even this Thor might just get magic boxed here as the mutas come in.
Everything is too little too late, you know?
Yeah, the defense seemed like it might have been okay there at the start. It didn't take too much SCV damage, and the muta count did get whittled down to a manageable number, it felt like, but the follow-up by DRG, just the Baneling flood, the mutas, it's all too much. I mean, GuMiho's production, his economy just isn't there yet. He hasn't really been able to get into the position where he has enough army to really stabilize for what feels like the past couple of minutes. And I mean, you were talking about how important it is to retain those battle cruisers. Yeah. If he had, this game would be a different story.
Imagine this was 7 battle cruisers instead of 3. Oh my god, that one got away. That's cool. I'm like, even if GuMiho loses this game, that was cool.
It's not cool to me, man. I remember playing Protoss against like mech Terrans where exactly this happens. The battle cruisers get away every time. Oh, I hate it. That Thor, though, a little bit out of position.
Yeah, this is we found out the Thor can teleport. We're like, what?
Oh, no. They got this, like, jump tech or something and jump across the screen. Could be crazy.
This isn't the way to do it either. It's like, well, my Banes didn't work. Try my Lings on for size.
I mean, he is trading out Zerglings and Mutas for Thors, and he's not really getting the battle cruisers, but this is damage that's kind of keeping GuMiho in check. In the meantime, DRG back at home, he's at 88 drones. He doesn't really need to scale well, even if these trades aren't super cost effective. Like, GuMiho is not going to take a 4th base anytime soon. He's going to try to, but he'll probably fail. I like these plays by DRG just kind of chipping away at him.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think DRG's having the cleanest finisher here, but honestly, he doesn't have to.
You're right.
I mean, this is 112 supply, Terran. And, you know, Zerg is now growing into both corners of the map. On a map that, frankly, is hard for Zerg to grow into the corners of. And I think we're at the point where, you know, Zerg's maxed out. Not an overwhelming number of Banelings, but honestly, not a lot of targets either. So, you know, this should be basically it.
See these guys jump away
Here we go.
again.
This is the best part of Circuit 2. Whoa! Oh, look out. Is he going to? Oh, he did it again.
Yamato and Blink. Banelings coming in now on that wall. Gets stopped just for a moment, but as you said, I mean, DRG, he's near max. He's going to keep flooding right now. One Thor goes down. Second Thor going down. DRG, he doesn't even care if these mutas are bruised. He just keeps going for it. That's the 3rd Thor down. 4 Hellbats on the ground now and 3 battlecruisers in the air as DRG continues to flood. And I mean, these aren't the best trades, but he's keeping GuMiho at like 120 supply while he's at 93 drones. We're just going to see DRG just continue to chip away at GuMiho, I think. And I mean, there really is no answer. This base is pretty much all that he's got. He's going to be mining out of the natural. Only 12 SCVs can mine now from there. And
yeah, he's hitting so many locations.
It's a slow and painful death here.
Now Corruptors are coming. That's when you know it's getting bad.
Yeah. DRG's tired of those battlecruisers zipping away.
Yeah. He's like, they're going to jump to the corner of the map, and then I'm going to fly back there and kill them too.
GuMiho for a second started like poking out on the map with like 2 Thors and 4 Hellbats. Oh my god.
I don't mean to be mean.
What are you doing?
I'm kind of surprised GuMiho's still in the game. I mean, this is like...
it is the elimination match. I can understand. He hasn't died yet. But frankly, if he can't secure a 4th base, I think he's going to tap out. I mean, he's got to take that sometime soon. I mean, maybe he's thinking that if he can stabilize at like 150 supply and just full-on turtle, he might be able to survive and grind this one out, but...
That was my favorite engagement of the whole GSL day there, was that one right there.
I don't know. There's not too much to say. I mean, DRG just kind of just keeps throwing army at GuMiho in the trades. They aren't the best, but it doesn't matter.
Get ready. This is the best part. Wow. Oh,
even one goes down.
Yeah, that was a sign of the future there.
I feel like this might be it.
This should be the end.
You would hope so.
But who could say? I mean, look how big Thors are. What are we talking about? Both their arms are guns? I didn't know that.
Oh, man. Even Widowmine's coming in from GuMiho, man. He's gonna grind it. He's gonna grind it. I mean, maybe we're wrong. Maybe he's going to pull off the most impeccable comeback of all time.
Someone go down there and give DRG a cup of coffee and tell him to get it together, man. This is insane, all right? Now, he's just going to remake again. Zerg's been maxed out for, I feel like, you know, more than the length of this. This game should have ended a while ago.
It feels like it's been like 5 minutes of DRG just max throwing Lings. And
just throwing, you know, sets of 6 units and then 12 units there. But I think actually when you see the Terran kind of grow out on the map a little bit, it does get a little bit scary. It's like, all right, we need to actually act. The Corruptors are going to kill the battle cruisers.
There's like no static defense here, though. I mean, it's just three big mechs on the ground, Sibelians morphing, but these trades, more SCVs going down.
There it is. DRG takes the game. And it's going to be a ZVZ.
Yeah, DRG versus Rogue in the decider match, man. And I mean, if you're Rogue, you probably don't want to risk your tournament life on a ZVZ best of 3. A lot can happen.
Yeah, I think Rogue's going to be moving on, guys. But we got to find out first if DRG can do it. I mean, already Hero's beaten Rogue. And maybe we're in the middle of a big growth spurt for all the pro gamers, and we're going to be in for a lot of surprises this season.
Could be.
Guys, we're going to be going to that break, but when we come back, the final best of 3 for the first day of GSL. Rogue and DRG, we'll see you in a little bit.